Hi, I'm Dr. Gaby Cora, and I'm here with Dr. Helen Turnbull. She is president of Human Facets and has a fascinating story behind the business woman and the PhD psychologist and the organizational psychologist. You have so many accomplishments. So it's 1985 at the time, and you start this transition now. Looking back, you have all this historical memory about diversity, not only in the United States, but globally. What have you seen, and where do you feel we're heading?
That's a big question, Gaby. What have I seen and where are we heading? Well, look, I think in many ways we've made tremendous progress. I do believe that corporations are really serious about diversity. They do see it as a business imperative, and we have caused change. There's no question that all of these amazing gender programs, the Catalyst Award, etc., are leverage points for the corporate world to say we need to do this, we need to take it seriously. And I celebrate that, and I've been part of it for many years. However, I think I would also say that we haven't made as much progress as we needed to, or that perhaps in our hearts we would like to. So the idea of inclusion, or the idea of global inclusion, I often say to my clients, just because you've got them doesn't mean that you get it. So I think that quite often we put the words diversity and inclusion in the same sentence. And therefore we assume that they're the same thing. They're not. Diversity is about the demographics. Diversity is about the people in the organization and how different they are. Inclusion is about how you manage the environment so that people feel they belong and that they're valued for who they are, that they can bring more of their authentic self to the table. And so what have I seen? I've seen that from a negative perspective, I've seen that racism still exists, that sexism still exists, that homophobia is still there, that religious intolerance is still there, and that we're going to have to keep working on that. That's why I continue to have a passion for the idea of global inclusion. And at the same time, we have made progress, so I don't want to make it sound like we haven't done anything. We have. We've raised it to consciousness.
Sometimes you go in and you have all the flags there. You know someone is not convinced. Someone is being very defensive and resistant about anything that you have to say. And then with all your experience, you know that there are certain things that you can say that will shift that around. Tell me a bit about that. When you know it's a tough one, but at the same time you're like, here I can help this person see the light. What do you do?
Well, look, I think that what happens for people is that nobody wants to be accused of being, you know, labeled a racist or a sexist or whatever. And so people are understandably a little defensive and a little nervous. And I like to think that what I'm able to do is to help people say, listen, we've all got this. Nobody gets to be a phenomenological exception, including me. And so we teach what we want to learn. So I'm aware of when I'm out and about in the world that there are times when I'm not very patient with people, and sometimes it is about their differences. And I think, well, you know what, Helen, if you're carrying that, then maybe the people in this room are carrying it. So I try to help people to see that that we're all part of this, that we're all part of something, and that we need to come to the table together to cause change. One of the huge mistakes that gets made is that people compartmentalize this. So, you know, for example, if African Americans might think that race is an issue about fixing white people. And I hear quite a lot of people saying, well, you know, Helen, it's not just a black-white issue. And I'm like, you're right, it's not. It's so much more complex than that, because within each community, within the African American community, there's complexity. Within the, and also there are African Americans who might be uncomfortable, who could be sexist, for example, or who could be homophobic, or who didn't like a certain religion. So the idea that this is just black and white, or men and women, is much too limited a view to look at diversity. We have to look at all the differences. We have to understand that inside of me, there's complexity around these differences, and inside of us, within each group, there's complexity. That's why there's no easy fix for this. You know?
It's like helping them become free
Yes.
of
yes.
their own biases,
right.
of their own fears, of their own loss of identity, if that's part of what's going on with them.
Well, we all get messages growing up, and we're all a product of our environment. So, you know, when people come and say, well, I don't like this group, or I'm afraid of that, or don't accuse me of this, I used to sort of think, gosh, I don't work with these people. But as I've worked over the years, I've begun to realize everyone has a story, Gabby. And we may not have the privilege of knowing their story, but as long as you recognize that person has a story, I may not have the right to know it, but I know he's coming from somewhere, or she's coming from somewhere. Where's the pain points? Where's the fear? Where's the anxiety? And if I can help to draw that out for you and make you look at the issues, then we'll both benefit from it.
Helen, is there anything else that we haven't discussed that you'd love people to know about?
Well, you know, I think this is a great discussion. I'm really enjoying it. But I think that today the leading edge on diversity is looking at the issue of unconscious bias, so which is a very interesting field in terms of it opens up an arena of discussion so that we actually don't have to feel guilty anymore. We all have unconscious biases. It's like I said, it's stuck to us like Velcro, and that people should feel free to just know that we're a product of our environment, and to look at the issues and to be open to the issue of inclusion.